Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you all hear me. Now,
We can hear you well.
what I'm saying now is focusing on the students who did the postgraduate certificate in education at Two Oceans Graduate. What the information can be extrapolated to other universities as well. Now, the main thing is that we were talking about the non-traditional student. Now, who is that? What is that? It's a student who is normally over 25 years or older. They're the ones coming into the postgraduate degree system. They're studying part-time. They have work experience. They're usually working full-time. They often have family commitments. Now, all of these things will have a huge impact on how we teach and what we teach. These students are not the same as traditional students, those who left school and are studying full-time. These students have got different expectations. Now, all the work done, they want it to be useful and meaningful. And dare I say, these students need to be treated differently to traditional students. Some of these students are skilled, others not. But on the whole, they are very sensitive students and demanding. We must take note of their needs. Now, students in South Africa may have been at a high-tech university or a long-tech university, low-tech university, or long ago. And before they do a postgraduate certificate, they should do an orientation module, and that module must cover essential digital skills for online learning. Not just learning, but learning online. Now, why an orientation module? Why is it so important? Well, if you have a good orientation module, it is linked to success in learning in the online environment. That I've picked up time and again in the literature that I've looked at. Now, the orientation module can reduce anxiety. It can develop student autonomy. It can develop a sense of community. It can improve the comfort level, and it will give the students time to get used to online teaching. And that time is very important. The students need to get used to online teaching. Now, what is in the module and how it is taught impacts on the whole qualification which is coming next. Now, at Two Oceans, we had an orientation module at the beginning of the semester. It was only for 1 week. In hindsight, I think it was a bit short. It wasn't for credit. Maybe that could be rethought. No final percentage was given, although each activity had a percentage. The students would have liked a final percentage. The students kept looking for their grades. They wanted to know where they were and hope they'd passed. In Moodle, I could see if the students were doing the work. And it was amazing to see in activity completion the number of students who did the work. They all were very involved. Now, what was in this orientation module? There were topics that I thought were important. Me. Now, my background is in teaching and writing textbooks on computers and education. I've taught undergrad computers. I've taught postgrad computers. I've been involved with a master's in computer-assisted education. I've taught online for 4 years. I've taught the PGCE for 1 semester. And all of these may have impacted on my choosing the topics for the orientation module. Now, when it opened, the module opened with a welcome video and the details about myself, and the students were encouraged to message me if they had a problem. Oh, in 1 week, I had between 500 and 550 messages from the 175 students. I wasn't really worried about that because the students felt comfortable enough to ask for support. It was kind of a compliment. Now, what was in the orientation module? I divided it into 6 main topics: finding your way in Moodle, the handbook, retrieving information, keeping safe, creating videos, and useful ICT things when studying online. These were all things that I thought were important. Now, in finding your way in Moodle, there were some quizzes and assignments. In the Turkey handbook, there was a quiz about the Turkey handbook. In retrieving information, these were the topics covered. And the students seemed to think that obtaining journal articles from Eric was the most important topic that I did. Not the using the Turkey e-library, but getting those journal articles. I think somehow they had missed that at their own universities, or they'd forgotten, or it had been too difficult. And Eric is just so easy. Then we did a bit on keeping safe, where I did quizzes, and there were some videos. And somehow I picked up that keeping text in a Word document was hidden, was very important. Why? Were the students working on their assignments? Were they going to be working at work, where they had to keep their work hidden? Interesting. Creating videos was the most important of the modules, of the units in the orientation module, because here the students were creating videos, and I would say guessed, that the students would be creating videos in their academic professional modules. And then we did some work on things that I thought were important or useful when studying online. These were the topics covered. And then I added something later, spelling and punctuation, a quiz. And then something which is rather interesting, silly, basic. They had to submit a graded assignment. I wanted to be sure that the students could find a graded assignment from the orientation module and see the comments and the annotations, and they had to submit that to me. This was in preparation for their forthcoming work in the certificate or qualification. Now, how did I teach all my stuff? There were self-grading quizzes, there were assignments, there were files and videos to read and view, and they had to contribute to a forum. In hindsight, there were not enough activities, and not enough activities to prove that the students had gained the content knowledge. And then I was always very scared of offending the knowledgeable and skilled students. I mentioned before the students were very demanding, and in this orientation module, I was scared of offending those students. But no student complained that the work was dumbing down. So I was happy about that. Now, there was evaluation survey at the end, and there were some requests for refresher courses in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other things. So what I want to do now, I have a questionnaire ready. It's at the ethics committee at the moment, and I want to review this orientation module, and I want the module to have more things that are valuable to the students, and the students have got to give me feedback. I want the module to support the students. So I need to know what worked for them and what else they would like to have in the module. And that's how I've been working with this orientation module. We've done it, I've had a look at it, I've thought about it, and the next step will be to see what the students valued. Now, if you have any questions, they're my details. And here are the references. I've done a lot of reading in the orientation module, and I think that this module is very, very important. I'm going to stop sharing the module now, and then if you want to say anything to me, I will be here.
Thanks, Pam. What an interesting program and an approach. I love the fact that you mentioned the need for more activities. I think hands-on activities and real-life things that they need to do in the module after yours is really important. And then I also love the fact that you're now going to ask the students. I think it is so important to get the student voice in there, isn't it? Right. So let's see if there are some questions. Mark, can I ask you to mention your question, or do you want me to relay it?
Thank you very much, Dr. Miller. You are a true passionate teacher, and I say it as the highest compliment. You're not just, yeah, you're a true teacher, really. And I think it's important. If you, I just had a suggestion, is that you should be involved in new academics when they join the university, because a lot of them weren't teachers. I myself used to be a teacher originally. That's how I honed my skills. So, and that's how I know the value of your presentation. And thank you for your reflection on your lessons learned. I think it's invaluable. So it's just a comment from my side. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
I see in the chat room there are quite a number of comments that also reiterate the importance of a good, solid orientation module to prepare students. Milky, do you want to comment on something that you wrote there?
Yes. I think it's very valuable because when we have students on campus, you know, they have a library orientation session and the librarians come and people from faculty admin come and, you know, they have certain sessions that they go through, and we have to remember that we have to replicate this for the online students. And I've been furiously making notes here, as I said to Camara, because we're in the process of structuring an online PGDIP for communication management at the moment. And you know, there's institutional knowledge that or skills that the students have to have, technical skills, how to use the Blackboard platform, how to use the ClickUp platform, things like that. But then also what I found with students while doing the postgrad diploma, you know, the normal postgrad diploma, is that the technical skills in Word. You assume that a person that's been working for 10 years knows how to do Word. They don't always. And then study skills, as Pam mentioned, you know, these people have been off campus for a while. In the meantime, things have changed. So how to gather information, how to then create your own filing system, how to download documents or articles from Google Scholar, how to use Google Scholar, how to contact the librarian if you don't know how to use Google Scholar, things like that. But so very valuable that we should create the space where the students can get this. And we've been planning on having actually, you know, multiple admissions during the year. So maybe create this model that can be there and students can access it when they need to. So even when they've completed it and there's something they've forgotten, they can go back and access it again and just, you know, refresh themselves so you don't have to keep on repeating things. But another thing which I want to ask, and which might be, you know, UP specific, we have a lot of students that work on their cell phones. So is there a ClickUp or a Blackboard app available, or is it only the website? And now I'm shutting up.
I only use Moodle. I think the next speaker is going to be talking on using the cell phone for low data activities in teaching. Thank you, Nildiki.
If I may, I think there is a Blackboard app, definitely.
Yes, there is one, yeah.
There is definitely one that one can use. I think UP's already branded it, and it's definitely working for UP staff. But there are definitely also constraints. So if you want to make sure that your students are fully functional, then it would be good to download it first and to play around from a student perspective on your own phone, just to see how it works. And there are sometimes some of the functionalities aren't as easily accessible as it is on a desktop or a laptop. Moketsi, good to see you, Moketsi. Go ahead with your question.
Thank you, Chair. Great presentation, Dr. Miller. My question is around in terms of how do you balance the text and graphics to accommodate various learning styles of your students? As you said, rightly said, that these are not the traditional students. And yes, indeed, you wanted whatever they have learned within the orientation module should last long in their minds. Thank you.
I didn't hear the first part of the question. How do you
balance the use of text and the other medium or graphics in terms of accommodating various number of learning styles of these students?
I don't think I can answer that here now. I don't think there's sufficient time.
Okay.
To be very short, I try to use as short sentences as possible.
Okay.
I think we need to go to the next speaker. I'm sorry, I've overrun my time.
Okay, no problem.